Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live this afternoon on March 31st, Thursday, last day of the month, and just wanted to make a video about the qualifying matches for the World Cup that are set to go. 29 out of the 32 teams have already qualified for the upcoming World Cup, including the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Canada was number one, Mexico two, the United States number three. And tomorrow they're going to have the event where the various national teams are going to be slotted in the 8 groups that make up the World Cup tournament itself. There's 4 teams per group, and there's going to be a total of 8 groups. And I just wanted to give a brief analysis about what I think the CONCACAF teams in particular, how well they're going to be doing in the upcoming World Cup. To start off with, Canada, which, as I mentioned, finished first, and the CONCACAF tournament, which concluded yesterday, they finished in first place, and this is going to be their first World Cup since 1986. That was the last time they actually participated in the World Cup tournament. Canada really was a shocker to me. They were a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect them to do this well. They played extremely, they were very consistent throughout the tournament. They have a very good young squad, a couple of players playing in the Bundesliga in Germany, mainly David, who plays for Bayern Munich. I think he is the star of the Canadian national team. And I think that Canada, they'll probably play 3 matches this time around, and I don't see them advancing to the Sweet 16. I think they're going to be ousted after the first round of the group round portion of the tournament. I think that the Canadians are going to be very happy to be in the World Cup for the first time, as I mentioned, since 1986. They have a very talented young squad, but they're very inexperienced, very young. And the World Cup is a totally different animal, guys. I think that, for the most part, it's going to be a challenge for them. But my prediction is that that Canada will probably finish in 3rd place in their group. And this is, of course, without knowing really where these teams are going to be slotted. I mean, that's extremely important. The rivals, the national teams that you're going to be matching up against, that has a lot to do with how well you're going to be doing in the World Cup tournament. If they happen to be slotted in the group of death, where the strongest national teams are going to be playing against each other, then don't expect either Canada or Mexico or the United States, for that matter, to do very well in the tournament. So, I got to preface everything by saying that it's all going to depend on where, what groups they're going to be slotted in, and which opponents they're going to be getting. The event is, by the way, going to be taking place tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. So we'll know where all 32 teams are going to be slotted, what dates the matchups are going to be. The World Cup begins on November the 21st, and based on Group A, Group C, Group C, and so on and so forth. Based on where the teams are going to be slotted, that's where we'll determine what days they'll be playing. But that's my prediction as far as Canada is concerned. As far as Mexico, I think Mexico was very inconsistent. In my opinion, they lack a fire punch up front. They don't have many players that are decision makers, that are difference makers, that can actually score goals. Their defense is very suspect. They're too defenders, by and large, also struggled a lot to contain the opposing teams. And even though they didn't receive any goals, really the last three matchups against the U.S., Honduras, and El Salvador, the opponents really had a lot to do with it. With all due respect to those last two teams that they played against, they didn't offer really much resistance. They were not very aggressive on the pitch. So the defenders were not really, they really were not put to the task of having to defend a quality team up front. So I think Mexico lacks the ability to score goals. They lack the ability to defend up the middle. And so I think that for the first time in 8 World Cups, Mexico has qualified to 8 consecutive World Cups dating back to 1994 when the World Cup was held here in the United States. I think that for the first time in 8 World Cups, Mexico is not going to advance the group phase of the tournament. I think they're going to be ousted out of there for the reasons that I've been explaining. Their top players are really not performing to their full potential. The coaching staff really has been very predictable. They don't have many options, very variables where they can actually attack and hurt the opposition. I think that the opponents really have mastered how Mexico plays, and so they become very predictable. And I think that's one of the main reasons why Mexico really struggles to score goals, even though they have very good speedsters like Chucky Lozano and Tecatito Corona on the sides. They've been very predictable. So that's my prediction as far as Mexico is concerned. I think they're going to be also like Canada. They're not going to advance beyond the first round. And as far as the United States is concerned, I think the United States has a very exciting young team. I don't think in the history of U.S. men's national soccer team, I don't think they've ever had this much talent, especially young talent, in their entire history. Maybe all the way back to 1930 when they finished in third place, I believe it was, in the very first World Cup in Uruguay, 1930. But in contemporary times, this is the most talented squad the U.S. men's national team has ever had. Obviously led by Christian Pulisic, who is a premier player. He plays for Chelsea. He's only 22 years old. Has a world of talent and a lot of promise and potential ahead of him. He is clearly their star player. And then you have other young players like Claudio Reyna's son, who's only 19, who plays for Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. I believe he's only, like I mentioned, 19 years old. Extremely talented young player. Has had a lot of experience already playing in that one of the most competitive and toughest leagues to play in the world. They also have McKinney, who plays for Juventus in Series A or Series A league in Italy. They just have a lot of talent. And then, of course, Pepe, who just migrated from the MLS to the Bundesliga as well. And he's their striker now. He's their starting striker. He's only 20 years of age. I think the United States, their main problem is, or the U.S. Men's national team's main problem is really their consistency. I think because they're such a young team with a lot of talent, but because they're so young, that really is one of the contributing factors as to why they're so inconsistent. Because in their last match against Costa Rica, they lost yesterday 2-0. They really didn't show much firepower and punch up front. They really struggled to achieve any positive results on the road. The previous game, they completely annihilated Panama 5-1. So this is a team that basically has become feast or famine right now. They can play brilliantly one match, and then on the next match, it feels like it's a completely different team. That being said, however, I think that because of the young talent that they have assembled, the consistency with the coaching staff, I think that the U.S. will be the only CONCACAF team that's going to advance beyond the first round. I see them finishing in second place. Again, it's all going to hinge upon which opponents they're going to be facing in the round portion of the tournament. But I think that the U.S. has enough talent to advance to the Sweet 16 and be the only representative from CONCACAF that will be playing in that part of the tournament. I know that Costa Rica is also another CONCACAF team that can actually make it to the World Cup. They're going to be playing a wild card game against New Zealand, and they are clearly the favorites to beat New Zealand and advance directly to the World Cup. They would be the fourth CONCACAF representative. But as far as the three that are 100% certainty that are going to be representing CONCACAF and are going to be in the World Cup, Canada, Mexico, and the United States, my prediction is that the U.S. will be the only of the three that will be advancing to the next round of the World Cup. But anyway, just wanted to make my predictions before the actual selection event that's going to be taking place tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like I mentioned, that's when the event will begin, and we will know 24 hours from now where these teams are going to be slotted, who their opponents are going to be, and that's going to determine a lot as far as the fate of all 32 teams and how well they're going to be doing in the World Cup. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. If this is the first time watching any of my videos, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch. And I will catch you on the next video. Take care, everybody.